The wine glass was halfway to my lips when I heard my name screamed across the restaurant. Not called. Screamed. The sound of it made every conversation in the room stop. Made the candles on our table seem to flicker. Made the man sitting across from me, Kwong Min, the one my grandmother had been insisting I meet for weeks, look up from his menu with an expression I couldn't read yet. I knew that voice before I turned around.
Tamala!
Sir, wait, you can't.
Ah!
Lamar. My ex. The one I'd left 8 months ago. The one I'd filed a restraining order against. The one who'd been calling, texting, showing up at my job until I had to involve HR. He was crossing the restaurant floor like he owned it, shoving past the hostess who tried to stop him. Security was moving toward him, but he was faster, angrier, more desperate than any of them expected. I froze. The glass slipped from my hand, red wine spreading across the white tablecloth like something alive. You think you can just move on? Lamar's voice carried over the entire dining room. Replace me like I was nothing. I couldn't breathe, couldn't move. My whole body locked up the way it used to when he'd start yelling at home, back when I still believed his apologies. Kwong Min hadn't moved. He was watching Lamar approach with this calm I didn't understand. I wanted him to do something, call security, stand up, anything. But he just sat there, his dark eyes tracking every step Lamar took. Then Lamar reached our table. His hand shot out and grabbed my arm, yanking me halfway out of my chair.
I've been calling you for weeks, and you're here with him?
The pain was immediate, but the humiliation was worse. Everyone was watching. Everyone. I've been calling you for weeks, he said, his face too close to mine. And you're here? With him. I tried to pull away. Let go of me. We're done, Lamar. We're done when I say we're done. That's when his hand moved to my throat. Not choking, just holding. Claiming me in front of all these people like I was still his property. The restaurant gasped. A woman somewhere behind us made a sound like a sob. I forced the words out. Let go. And he slapped me. The crack of it echoed. My cheek exploded in heat, and my vision blurred instantly. I tasted blood where my teeth had cut the inside of my mouth. Through the tears, I saw Kwong Min stand. But he didn't rush, didn't shout. He reached up, slow, deliberate, and adjusted his left cuff. Then his right. The room held its breath. If you're watching this wondering what happened when that man adjusted his cuffs and stood up, hit that like button and subscribe because what came next changed everything. Drop a comment telling me where you're listening from. I want to know who's riding through this story with me. Lamar was still gripping my arm, still yelling something about everything he'd sacrificed for me when Kwong Min finally moved. He came around the table with this controlled grace that made every eye in the restaurant follow him. There was something in the way he moved that made the air feel heavier. Lamar didn't notice at first. He was too busy shouting at me, too caught up in his rage to see that the man across from me wasn't just some random date. But I noticed. I noticed the way the restaurant manager went pale when Kwong Min stood. The way 2 waiters near the kitchen door suddenly stopped moving, like they recognized something I didn't. The way the security guard who'd been approaching froze mid-step and looked at Kwong Min instead of Lamar. Something was wrong. Or maybe something was about to be very right.
Remove your hand, or I will remove it for you.
Who the hell do you think you...
Kwong Min's hand closed around Lamar's wrist, the one gripping my arm. Remove your hand, Kwong Min said quietly, his voice so calm it was terrifying. Or I will remove it for you. Lamar finally looked at him. Actually looked. And for half a second, I saw something flicker in his eyes. Uncertainty, maybe. Fear trying to push through the anger. But Lamar had never been smart when he was mad. He laughed. Bitter, wild. Who the hell do you think you? Kwong Min twisted. I heard the crack before I understood what happened. Lamar's hand released me instantly as he screamed, doubling over. Kwong Min had broken something. Maybe his wrist, maybe just his grip, I didn't know. But Lamar was howling, and Kwong Min had positioned himself between us like a wall. A human wall in an expensive suit who smelled like cedar and control. Lamar tried to swing at him with his other hand. Pure desperation now, pride overriding pain. But Kwong Min caught his fist midair and drove his knee into Lamar's stomach with precision that looked practiced. Surgical. Lamar crumpled, gasping. You don't touch her. Kwang Min's voice was still that same terrifying calm. You don't speak to her. You don't think about her.
Get him out. Make sure he understands what happens if he comes near her again.
Two men in dark suits appeared from nowhere. I hadn't seen them come in, but suddenly they were there, grabbing Lamar's arms and hauling him upright with the kind of efficiency that made me think they'd done this before. Many times before. Get him out, Kwang Min said, not even looking at them. His eyes were on Lamar. Make sure he understands what happens if he comes near her again. Lamar tried to lunge forward one more time, but the men in suits held him back easily. He was screaming as they dragged him toward the exit. This isn't over, Tabitha. You hear me? This isn't over. I'll find you. You're mine. The words followed me even after the restaurant doors closed behind him. Even after the room started breathing again, conversations resuming in hushed, shocked tones. Even after Kwang Min gently guided me back into my chair with a hand on my shoulder that was so careful, I almost broke down right there. I was shaking. My whole body was betraying me. Trembling so hard, I had to grip the edge of the table to keep my hands still. The restaurant manager appeared with ice wrapped in cloth. Kwang Min took it and held it against my cheek himself, his touch impossibly gentle for someone who'd just broken a man's wrist without flinching.
I'm so sorry. I didn't know he would.
You have nothing to apologize for. Nothing.
I'm sorry, I whispered. The words felt like swallowing glass. I'm so sorry. I didn't know he would. You have nothing to apologize for. Kwang Min's hand covered mine on the table. His palm was warm. Steady. Everything I wasn't right now. Nothing. But I couldn't stop shaking. Couldn't stop hearing Lamar's voice promising this wasn't over. Couldn't stop thinking about the fact that I'd just been humiliated in front of this man I barely knew. This man my grandmother had sworn was different from all the others. This man who'd just defended me with the kind of violence that should have scared me, but somehow didn't. Because the scariest part wasn't what Kwang Min had done. It was realizing that when those men in suits appeared, when the staff reacted to him standing, when he broke Lamar's grip with that controlled precision, I'd felt safe for the first time in 8 months. My mother called me 17 times before I finally answered. It was Sunday morning. I was still in bed, still replaying the restaurant over and over in my head. The slap, the way Kwang Min had moved, the sound of Lamar's wrist cracking. Baby, are you okay? Mama's voice was high with worry. Mrs. Chen from church said there was some kind of fight at that fancy restaurant downtown. She said she saw it on Facebook. Facebook. Of course. I sat up, my cheek still tender where Lamar had hit me. I'm fine, Mama. Fine. Someone posted a video, Tabitha. A video of that boy putting his hands on you. A video. People had filmed it. The most humiliating moment of my life was circulating online like entertainment. Daddy got on the line next. His voice was quieter, but I heard the edge in it. This is that boy who's been bothering you? The one you said was handled. He violated the restraining order, I said, pulling my knees to my chest. The police were called. He was arrested. And the man who defended you. Daddy's tone shifted slightly. Who is he? I hesitated. Because how do I explain Kwang Min? The way he'd stood up, adjusted his cuffs like he had all the time in the world. The men who'd appeared from nowhere. The way the entire restaurant had reacted to him. Someone Grandma introduced me to. I said finally. We were on a first date. Daddy was quiet for a moment. Then, some first date. My younger brother Deshaun grabbed the phone next. Yo, Tab, I saw the video. You want me to handle something? Me and the boys can. No. My voice came out sharper than I meant it to. No, Deshaun. That won't help anything. But he kept pushing, kept insisting he needed to do something. And I spent the next 20 minutes convincing him that revenge would only make things worse. After I hung up, Jada showed up at my apartment with ice cream and fury in her eyes. I should have known he wouldn't just let you go, she said, dropping onto my couch. Men like Lamar never do. She'd been the one who helped me leave him 6 months ago. Let me sleep over at her place when I was too scared to go back to my apartment. Now she was looking at me with this mix of concern and something else. Curiosity, maybe. The man who defended you, Jada said slowly. That video is everywhere, Tab. People are asking who he is. I pulled out my phone. Search my name. The video was grainy but unmistakable. Kwang Min standing. The cuff adjustment. The moment he'd broken Lamar's grip. The comments were wild. 2 weeks passed without a word from Lamar. I should have felt relieved. Instead, I felt like I was waiting for the other shoe to drop. Work became my distraction. My supervisor Patricia called me into her office that Monday, concern written all over her face. I heard about the incident this weekend. Are you safe? Do we need to alert building security? I assured her I was fine. Didn't mention that Kwong Min had been calling me every single day since that night. Not to pressure me about another date. Just to check in. How are you feeling? Did you sleep? Have you eaten? Questions that should have felt invasive, but somehow didn't. It was a Thursday night when everything changed again. I was leaving work late, pulling a double shift to catch up on a project. The parking garage was empty except for my car, sitting alone under the flickering lights near the elevator. I heard footsteps behind me. My whole body went cold before my brain even processed the sound. I turned, keys clutched between my fingers like a weapon, and saw him. Lamar. He looked worse than he had at the restaurant. Thinner, unwashed. His eyes had this wild, desperate look that made my throat close up. You got me arrested, Tabitha. His voice echoed in the empty garage. You know that? I violated my restraining order just by being at that restaurant. I lost my job because of you. I backed toward my car, fumbling for my phone. You did that to yourself. Scared you. He laughed, and it sounded broken. I loved you. I gave you everything. You hurt me, Lamar. My hand found the car door handle. Over and over. That's not love. He moved toward me, and I was ready to scream, ready to run, when headlights suddenly flooded the entire garage. A black sedan pulled up between us, smooth and deliberate. Two men stepped out. The same two from the restaurant. The ones in dark suits who dragged Lamar away. Lamar froze, stared at them, then at me. You've got to be kidding me. You have bodyguards now. I was just as shocked as he was. I hadn't asked for this. Hadn't even known they were following me. One of the men spoke quietly into his phone in Korean. Then he addressed Lamar in English, his tone flat and final. You need to leave. Now, or we will make you leave. After they escorted Lamar out, again, one of them turned to me. Mr. Han wanted to make sure you were safe, he said simply. We've been monitoring the situation. Monitoring. The word stuck in my head the whole drive home. That night, I called Kwong Min. You have people following me? There was a pause. Then his voice, careful and calm. Protecting you. There's a difference. You can't just decide that without asking me. My voice came out sharper than I intended, but I meant every word. I was pacing my apartment, phone pressed to my ear, trying to process the fact that Kwong Min had people watching me without my knowledge. There was a pause on his end. Then, you're right. I apologize. I should have discussed it with you first. The apology caught me off guard. Lamar never apologized. Never admitted when he'd overstepped. Would you like me to call them off? Kwong Min asked. I stopped pacing, stared at the window, remembering Lamar's face in that parking garage. The desperation in his eyes. The way he'd found me even after being arrested, even after the restraining order. No, I said quietly. I don't want you to call them off. But I need you to understand something. I sat down on my couch, choosing my words carefully. I'm not some fragile thing that needs constant rescuing. I know exactly who you are, Tabitha. His voice softened. You're the woman who left an abusive relationship, who rebuilt her life, who had the courage to try again, even knowing the risk. That's not fragile. That's strength. Something in my chest loosened. Lamar used to make me feel small, incapable, like I needed him to function. Kwong Min was offering protection while acknowledging my strength. There was a difference, and I was just starting to understand it. The next day, I noticed them. The bodyguards. One following at a distance when I went grocery shopping. Another positioned in the corner when I met Jada for coffee. So you have bodyguards now? Jada set her cup down hard enough that coffee sloshed over the rim. Tab, this is insane. I explained about the parking garage. About Lamar showing up again. Just because you're choosing this doesn't mean it's healthy, Jada said, her voice tight with worry. What happens when you want your life back? I didn't have an answer for her. Because the truth was, I didn't feel like my life had been taken. I felt like it had been protected. And maybe that made me weak, or maybe it made me smart. I was still trying to figure out which. If you're wondering whether she made the right choice letting him protect her like this, hit subscribe because this decision is about to change everything. Drop a comment and tell me, would you accept protection from someone you barely know? I need to hear what you're thinking right now. Kwong Min called me midweek with a question that made my stomach flip. Would you be comfortable meeting my family? I stared at my phone. We'd been on one date. One chaotic, violent, life-altering date. And now he wanted me to meet his parents? That's fast, I said. In my culture, it's customary when intentions are serious. He paused. But only if you're ready. I wasn't sure I was ready, but I heard myself say, only if you meet mine first. So that's how Kwang Min ended up at my parents' house the following Sunday, sitting at our dining room table while Mama fussed over whether he liked her cooking and Daddy asked questions that sounded casual but weren't. What do you do for work, son? My family owns several businesses. Restaurants, import and export, real estate. And your intentions with my daughter? Kwang Min didn't hesitate. To keep her safe, to earn her trust, to be worthy of her choice. Deshawn tried testing him with obscure basketball statistics. Kwang Min knew every answer, and I watched my brother's skepticism transform into reluctant respect. But it was the moment on the back porch that changed everything. Daddy pulled Kwang Min outside for what he called fresh air, but what I knew was an interrogation. I watched through the kitchen window as they talked, unable to hear the words. When they came back in, Daddy's expression had shifted. Not warm, exactly, but approving. Later, after Kwang Min left, Mama pulled me aside. He's polite, respectful. He actually listened when I talked instead of just waiting for his turn to speak. Deshawn added, he's not like Lamar. That dude actually sees you. Grandma, who'd been quiet all evening, just smiled. He answered your father correctly. That man understands what protection without possession means. I thought about Lamar, who used to complain about family dinners, who'd make excuses to leave early, who'd made me feel like my family wasn't good enough. Kwang Min had asked for a second helping of Mama's mac and cheese, had laughed at Daddy's terrible jokes, had treated my family like they mattered because they mattered to me. When he walked me to my door that night, I expected him to kiss me. He leaned in close, his hand gentle against my cheek near where Lamar had struck me. Our breath mingled. The moment stretched. Then he stepped back and kissed my hand instead. Old-fashioned, deliberate. I want to earn this, he said softly. Not take it because you're grateful. He left me standing there, heart racing, finally understanding what my grandmother had meant. This man was different, dangerously different. The invitation came 3 weeks after that family dinner. My family is hosting a grand reopening event for one of our restaurants. Kwang Min said over the phone. I want you to see what we've built. I said yes before I could overthink it. The venue was downtown, upscale in a way that made my burgundy dress feel suddenly inadequate. Valets, photographers, local politicians I recognized from the news. This wasn't just a restaurant opening. This was a statement. Kwang Min's hand found the small of my back as we entered, and I noticed something immediately. The way people looked at him, deferred to him, made space as we passed. His parents greeted me with warmth. His mother's hug felt genuine, his father's handshake firm. His younger sister Hannah appeared at my side within minutes, linking her arm through mine like we were already family. I've never seen him like this with anyone, she whispered, nodding toward Kwang Min. You've changed him. But it was the men in the room that caught my attention. Some in expensive suits, some with the same careful posture as the bodyguards who'd been following me. They moved through the crowd with purpose, watching everything. I excused myself to the restroom halfway through the evening. On my way back, I took a wrong turn down a hallway, heard voices coming from behind a slightly open door. Korean, spoken fast and sharp. But I recognized Kwang Min's voice instantly. Then a word I understood. Territory. Another. Shipment. A third that made my blood go cold. Protection fees. I froze in the hallway, hand against the wall, reality crashing down around me. The door opened. A man stepped out, saw me standing there. Our eyes met. Then Kwang Min appeared in the doorway. He looked at me, and I watched his expression shift as he realized exactly what I'd heard. Let's talk, he said quietly, taking my hand. Privately. He led me to a rooftop terrace, city lights spreading below us like scattered diamonds. For a long moment, neither of us spoke. You heard business that concerns you now, he finally said. Not a question, a statement. I nodded, not trusting my voice. My grandfather came to America with nothing, Kwang Min began, his hands resting on the terrace railing. Built everything through what he called unconventional means. Protection services, territorial control. Things that existed in shadows. He turned to face me. We're legitimate now. Mostly. The restaurants, the real estate, the import business, all legal. But our roots. He paused. Some of our world still operates outside normal boundaries. Why did you really help me that night? The question came out harsher than I intended. His jaw tightened. Your grandmother asked me to meet you. Said her granddaughter needed someone who understood protection. My grandmother. The matchmaker. The woman who'd smiled so knowingly. She knew, I said slowly. She knew what your family was. She knew exactly who we were. Her late husband had business dealings with my grandfather decades ago. Kwong Min stepped closer. She trusted me anyway. The question is, can you? I thought about the men who'd appeared in the parking garage. The way the restaurant had reacted when he stood. The controlled violence that had stopped Lamar. Does knowing this change how you see me? He asked. I looked at this man who'd protected me, respected my family, given me space when I needed it. This man whose world operated by rules I didn't understand. I don't know, I admitted. I need time to process this. Take all the time you need. His voice was gentle. My protection doesn't require your acceptance. But we both knew that wasn't true anymore. Because accepting his protection meant accepting his world. And I wasn't sure I could do that. I didn't sleep that night. Instead, I sat at my laptop, searching. Han family business, plus the city name. Articles popped up about legitimate holdings, restaurants, real estate ventures, import companies. But when I dug deeper, I found older articles. Vague mentions of organized activity involving his grandfather's generation. Nothing concrete. Just shadows and implications. It frustrated me more than it should have. Jada met me at our usual coffee shop the next morning. I told her everything. The overheard conversation, the rooftop confession, my grandmother's involvement. Your grandmother set you up with a mobster? Jada's voice carried enough that people at nearby tables turned to look. It's more complicated than that, I said. But even as the words left my mouth, I wondered if I was making excuses. Is it? Jada leaned forward. Or are you making it complicated because he makes you feel safe? The question hit harder than I expected. If Lamar disappeared tomorrow, would you still want Kwong Min? She pressed. I thought about the way he'd listened to my family's stories. The questions he'd asked about my work, my dreams. The hand kiss instead of taking what he could have taken. Yes, I said finally. I would. But Jada wasn't convinced, and I couldn't blame her. I drove to my grandmother's house that afternoon, unannounced. Found her in the kitchen making lemon pound cake, like nothing had happened. You knew what he was, I said without preamble. What his family does. She didn't look surprised by the accusation. Just kept stirring her batter. I knew exactly who he was. Why? Why would you set me up with someone like that? Grandma set down her spoon, turned to face me. After what Lamar put you through, after the police couldn't keep you safe, you needed someone who operates differently. Someone outside the law. Someone who understands that the world doesn't always play fair. She took my hands in hers. Did Kwong Min hurt you? Disrespect you? Make you feel small? No. Then maybe his world isn't the problem. Maybe it's the solution you didn't know you needed. My phone buzzed in my pocket. Unknown number. I see you've got new friends. Rich friends. Think that changes anything. Below it, a photo. Me leaving the restaurant event last night. Kwong Min's hand on my back. Lamar had been watching. Photographing. Tracking. I showed my grandmother, my hands shaking. Call Kwong Min, she said firmly. Right now. I dialed before I could talk myself out of it. He answered on the first ring. Lamar sent me a message. He was outside the restaurant last night. He took pictures. Kwong Min's tone changed instantly. Where are you right now? My grandmother's house. Stay there. I'm coming. He arrived 20 minutes later, one of his men with him. Took my phone, studied the text and photo with careful attention that made me realize this wasn't the first threat he'd assessed. He's planning something. Kwong Min said finally, handing my phone back. Men like him don't de-escalate. They get more desperate. My grandmother watched from the doorway, arms crossed, waiting. I want to move you to a secure location temporarily, Kwong Min said. No. The word came out harder than I meant it to. I'm not hiding. I won't let him take my life again. Then we upgrade security. Your apartment building gets monitored. Your route to work gets covered. I agreed to that. It felt like compromise instead of surrender. But then I asked the question that had been eating at me since the rooftop. What are you going to do about Lamar? Kwong Min's expression didn't change. What needs to be done? Legally first. And if legal doesn't work? His eyes met mine. Then I'll do what keeps you safe. You don't need details. That should have scared me. Maybe it did. But I thought about Lamar's hands on my throat, his fist connecting with my face, the months of fear before I finally left. I don't want him killed. That's not my intention, Kwang Min said immediately. Death creates complications. Fear and consequences are more effective. I want him to understand that you're untouchable. My grandmother excused herself to make tea, leaving us alone in her living room. Kwang Min sat beside me on the couch, maintaining careful distance. I know my world frightens you. It should. But you make me want to be the man who protects, not the one who destroys. I turned to look at him. Really look at him. I'm scared. Not of you. Of needing you. His hand covered mine. Need isn't weakness. And I've needed you since the moment I saw him hurt you. We leaned closer. His hand moved to my cheek, gentle near where the bruise had finally faded. The front door opened. My grandmother with her tea tray. Am I interrupting? We pulled apart, and despite everything, I almost laughed. Kwang Min's team would track Lamar. Legal pressure would be applied, and I would trust the process. Because I was choosing to. 2 weeks passed without incident. The bodyguard, Min Jun, I learned his name was, became a familiar presence. Silent, professional, respectful. My coworkers stopped asking questions, accepted the security consultant explanation, and moved on. Kwang Min and I fell into a rhythm. Dinner twice a week. Phone calls every night. No more interruptions, no more violence. Just us, learning each other. He took me to a Korean cultural center for a traditional music performance. Explained the history of each piece, his family's connection to preserving the art. I told him about my dreams of opening my own consulting firm someday, maybe traveling abroad. He listened like my words mattered, like my future mattered. After the performance, we walked through a lantern-lit garden, hands intertwined. He told me about his grandmother teaching him patience through tea ceremony, how she'd insisted that strength without control was just destruction. I realized I was falling for him, not because he'd saved me, but because of who he was when he wasn't saving me. The following week, he gave me a gift, small wrapped box that made my heart race. Inside, a delicate jade bracelet, traditional Korean design. In my family, jade represents protection and devotion, he said, fastening it around my wrist. I want you to have this. I looked at the bracelet catching light, understanding the weight of what he was offering. Not possession, a promise. That Sunday, I met his family formally. Elaborate meal at his parents' home, his mother presiding with quiet authority. His father asked about my work with genuine interest. Hannah whispered that she'd never seen her brother like this. Driving me home, Kwang Min asked a question that changed everything. Could you see yourself in my world permanently? My breath caught. I'm starting to. That scares me. It scares me too, he admitted. I've never wanted someone to stay before. He parked outside my building, turned to face me fully. I'm not asking you to decide tonight. I'm asking you to consider it. We leaned across the console. This time, no interruption. His lips met mine, gentle and deliberate, weeks of restraint breaking in the best way. When we finally pulled apart, breathless, I made an impulsive decision. Come upstairs. For coffee. His surprised pause. Are you sure? I'm sure. The coffee was forgotten within minutes. We sat on my couch, his arm around me, talking about everything and nothing. Comfortable silence between words. A new kind of intimacy that felt more significant than any physical touch. Then his phone buzzed. Insistently. Kwang Min checked it, and his entire posture changed. I have to take this. He stepped into my kitchen, spoke in rapid Korean, his tone sharp in a way I'd never heard before. When he returned, tension rolled off him in waves. Something's happened. I need to handle it. What is it? He hesitated. Then, Lamar. He made contact with people he shouldn't have. My chest tightened. What do you mean? He tried hiring someone to follow you. Find vulnerabilities in our security. Kwang Min sat back down, took my hands. The person he approached has connections to my world. Reported it immediately. So Lamar was planning something. Still planning, even after everything. We need to accelerate our response, Kwang Min said. 2 days later, he called an emergency meeting at my apartment. His senior men arrived, Min Jun and another named Sung Ho. They explained the plan. Create an apparent security gap, a controlled vulnerability. Let Lamar think he had an opportunity. You want to use me as bait? I said slowly. Only if you consent, Kwong Min said immediately. I won't risk you without agreement. He walked me through every detail. Fake appointment at a building they controlled. Minimal visible security. Lamar would believe it was his chance. We'll be there. Every step. He won't get within 10 feet of you. I thought about living in fear forever, waiting for Lamar to strike, never feeling truly safe. I'll do it, I said, but I want to know everything. When I told Jada the next day, she looked at me like I'd lost my mind. You're offering yourself as bait to your abuser? I'm taking control, I corrected. For the first time, I'm choosing the terms. She asked if I was ready, if I trusted Kwong Min enough. And I realized something. I love him. Jada went quiet. Then, I know. That's what scares me. The setup day came. I dressed professionally, jade bracelet on my wrist. Minjun drove me to the building, dropped me at the entrance as planned, drove away. I entered, took the elevator to the 3rd floor, sat at the designated desk. Through the hidden earpiece, Kwong Min's voice, calm and steady. I'm here. You're safe. 15 minutes passed. 25. My nerves fraying. Then, he's in the building. East stairwell. 3 minutes. The office door opened slowly. Lamar stepped inside, looking worse than I'd ever seen him. Unwashed, desperate, unhinged. Finally, he said, no bodyguards. No rich boyfriend. Just us. I stood, backing toward the window as planned. Lamar, don't do this. He advanced. You ruined my life, Tabitha. Everything I had is gone because of you. His hand grabbed my arm, yanking hard. In my ear, 5 seconds. The door crashed open. Kwong Min entered with Sung Ho, and everything changed. Lamar spun, still gripping my arm. Or what? You'll break my wrist again? I'm not afraid of you. You should be, Kwong Min said. What happened next was over in seconds. Kwong Min grabbed Lamar's wrist, applied pressure, and Lamar's hand released me involuntarily. Sung Ho pulled me to safety while Kwong Min forced Lamar to his knees. No rage. No excess. Just clinical control. Sung Ho revealed cameras had captured everything. Police were already coming. You set me up, Lamar realized. This whole thing was a trap. You set yourself up, Kwong Min corrected. I just gave you the opportunity to show everyone who you really are. The police arrived, arrested Lamar on multiple charges. This time, bail was denied. After they left, I started shaking. The adrenaline crashed all at once, and I couldn't stop the tears. Kwong Min wrapped his coat around me, held me while I broke down completely. First time I'd let him see me like this. That evening, he insisted I not be alone. Brought me to his apartment. First time seeing his private space. Minimalist, elegant, books in both languages. He made tea, sat beside me, didn't pressure me to talk. Finally, I was terrified, even knowing you were there. Good, he said quietly. Fear means you understand danger. I was terrified too. I looked at him, surprised. Every second until you were safe. Then I told him what I'd admitted to Jada. I love you. Not because you saved me. Because of who you are when you're not saving me. Kwong Min went still. I've been waiting for you to say that. He explained. In his world, love creates vulnerability that enemies exploit. I decided you were worth that risk the night I saw him hurt you. But then came the warning. In my world, when we commit, it's absolute. You be part of my family completely. There's no casual dating. He looked at me directly. My parents expect marriage if this continues. Marriage. The word hung between us. I'm not proposing tonight, he clarified. I'm explaining expectations so you can decide if this is what you want. I stood, pacing. Marriage to a man from an organized crime family. Protection forever, yes. But freedom? Can I have my own life and be with you? I will never make you small, he promised. Your dreams are yours. But I need honesty. Can you accept being loved by someone whose methods you don't always agree with? I loved him. But permanent integration, family expectations, it overwhelmed me. I asked to stay anyway. We lay together in his bed, fully clothed, whispering about small things until I fell asleep in his arms. Safe but uncertain about everything else. 3 weeks later, I received a formal invitation. Dinner at Kwong Min's family estate. Not a restaurant. The estate. The handwritten note was in Korean and English. We would like to speak with you. I called him immediately. What is this about? My father wants to meet with you officially. About us. My stomach tightened. This is about marriage. Yes, but you don't have to go if you're not ready. I went. Jada helped me choose an outfit, elegant but not submissive. My grandmother advised me by phone. Listen more than you speak. They're measuring your strength, not your obedience. The estate was gated, traditional Korean architecture mixed with modern security. Kwangmin met me at the entrance, took my hand. Whatever happens tonight, we face it together. The formal dining room held his parents, Hannah, and two elder uncles I'd never met. This was a tribunal. His father spoke first in English. My son has declared his intent to marry you. This is not casual in our family. His mother added, marriage into our family means accepting responsibilities beyond romance. An uncle asked, do you understand what world you're entering? I answered honestly, I'm beginning to. I won't pretend I fully understand everything, but I'm willing to learn. The questions came rapid fire. Can you maintain silence about things you see and hear? I've already kept confidence. Loyalty isn't new to me. What if his business requires him to be absent for days? Then I trust he has reasons. But I'd expect honesty when he returns, not lies. Being Kwangmin's wife makes you a target. Does this frighten you? Yes, but I've already been a target because of who I am to him. Marriage doesn't change that risk. His father explained traditional expectations, then added, but my son chose you because you are none of those things. We don't expect you to become Korean. We expect you to become family. The uncle challenged. Family means our problems become yours. Our enemies, your enemies. Can you accept that? I stood from the table, respectful but firm. May I speak plainly? His father nodded. I love your son. Not his protection, not his status, not his world. Him. The man who asks about my day, who listens to my family's stories, who gave me space when I needed it. I continued. I understand you're protecting him. I respect that. But I need you to understand. I'm not seeking entry to your world for security or money. I'm here because leaving him would break something in me I just finished repairing. Silence filled the room. Then his father spoke. You have more spine than I expected. Good. We needed to know if you'd submit under pressure or hold your ground. My son needs a partner who can stand beside him, not behind him. His mother smiled. Welcome to the family, Tabitha. Officially, she presented a wooden box. Inside, a family ring, gold with jade. This belonged to Kwangmin's grandmother. This is a promise ring. You wear it. You're claiming our family as we claim you. Kwangmin knelt beside my chair. Not a proposal, something deeper. Will you accept my family, my world, my protection, and my devotion? I looked at the ring, at him, at the family waiting. I thought of Lamar's control versus Kwangmin's partnership. Fear versus love. The difference between chains and chosen bonds. Yes, I accept all of it. He slid the ring onto my right hand. The family relaxed. Dinner resumed as if I'd passed an exam I hadn't known I was taking. After dinner, Kwangmin walked me through estate gardens. You were magnificent. I thought I failed when I stood up. That's when my father decided to approve. Submission would have concerned him. Under lantern light, he made a promise. This ring is family claiming you. But when I propose for real, that will be me claiming you. Just me. When will that be? When you're ready to say yes without fear. The kiss that followed sealed everything. 2 months later, I sat in a courtroom with Kwangmin beside me. Lamar's trial. The verdict came quickly, guilty on multiple charges. 18 months jail time, mandatory counseling, permanent restraining order upon release. Lamar's eyes found mine across the courtroom. No rage left, just empty defeat. I felt only relief. They offered me the chance to give a victim impact statement. Kwangmin squeezed my hand. Only if you want to. I approached the microphone. You made me believe love meant control. You taught me fear was normal. You're the reason I almost didn't recognize real love when it found me. I paused. I don't forgive you, but I release you. You don't get space in my future anymore. When I returned to my seat, Kwangmin's pride was visible. Lamar tried speaking. You think your rich boyfriend makes you better than me? You don't know what he really is. I stood calmly. I know exactly who he is, and he's shown me what real protection looks like. That's the difference. The judge silenced Lamar. He was removed, still shouting. That evening, both families gathered for dinner. A celebration of closure and new beginnings. My parents, his parents, Deshaun, Hannah, everyone who mattered. My father toasted. To my daughter, who survived and chose to thrive. My grandmother added, to the man who knew how to protect without possessing. Then Kwang Min stood, called for attention. 3 months ago, I met a woman I was supposed to protect. She was vulnerable, hurting, afraid. But she was also the strongest person I'd ever encountered. He knelt beside my chair, pulling out a different ring. The engagement ring. My family claimed you. But tonight, I'm asking, Tabitha, will you choose me? Not my protection, not my world, not my family's approval. Just me. Will you marry me? Through tears, I answered, yes, I choose you. I choose us. The room erupted in applause. After dinner, he took me to a rooftop terrace. City lights below us. I promised I'd know when you were ready. Tonight I saw it. The way you looked at our families together. Like you finally believed you deserved all of this. I confessed about the nightmares I still had sometimes. He admitted he knew. Healing isn't linear. I'm patient. Then he drove me somewhere unexpected. The original restaurant. Where it all began. Why here? To replace the memory. We sat at the same table. Across from each other, echoing that first date. Last time we sat here, I was meeting a stranger, he said. Last time we sat here, I was hoping for a normal evening. We smiled at how everything had changed. Dinner was peaceful. No interruption. No violence. Just us, planning our future. The space transformed by safety and love. When we left, he kissed me on the sidewalk. No fear. Just love. 6 months later, I stood in a bridal suite, looking at myself in the mirror. The dress was fusion. White gown with traditional Korean hanbok elements. Jade embroidery threading through the fabric. Both rings on my hands. Family ring on the right. Engagement ring on the left. Wedding band waiting to join it. My mother was crying. Jada was fixing my veil. Hannah was laughing at something my grandmother said. Grandma caught my eye in the mirror. You look like a woman who knows her worth. I thought about the woman who'd sat across from Kwang Min 9 months ago. Broken, hopeful, desperate for normal. Now I was whole, certain, embracing extraordinary. The ceremony space was outdoors. Korean garden meets Southern elegance. 2 aisles, one traditional American, one traditional Korean. My father walked me down the first aisle, released me at the center. Kwang Min's father met me there, walked me down the second to where Kwang Min waited. Both families delivering me to my chosen future. His expression when he saw me, controlled emotion finally breaking through. You're breathtaking, he whispered. We exchanged traditional vows in English, additional ones in Korean. Then I added my own. You showed me that protection can honor instead of diminish. That strength allows vulnerability. That love is safest when it's chosen. Kwang Min's addition. You taught me that power is worthless without purpose. That the greatest strength is restraint. That earning trust is better than demanding obedience. The kiss sealed everything. At the reception, speeches came from both sides. Jada's made me cry. I watched my best friend survive hell. Then I watched her choose heaven. Deshawn joked. My sister married into a family scarier than ours. Thanksgiving's gonna be interesting. During our first dance, Kwang Min asked, any regrets? Not a single one. I'll ask you that every anniversary. Make sure it stays true. Between reception events, he pulled me into a garden alcove, handed me an envelope. Inside, deed to a building where my consulting firm would launch. This is too much, I protested. It's investment in your dream. The business is yours. The space is my wedding gift. I realized then, he really did see me as an equal partner. The honeymoon was Korea, then the Caribbean. 2 weeks with his family, 2 weeks just us. 3 months after the wedding, we'd built our new normal. My firm was thriving. Family dinners rotated between both sides. Deshawn and Hannah were dating now. My grandmother smiled knowingly at Sunday dinner. I knew what I was doing. I volunteered at a domestic violence organization now, using my story to help others. One evening, returning to that restaurant for their charity event, I gave a speech about survival and recovery. 9 months ago, someone violated me in this room. I could have let that night define me. Instead, I chose to let what came after define me. Standing ovation. Women crying. Kwang Min's quiet pride. 1 year after that first date, we returned to the same table. Our new tradition. He asked his annual question, any regrets? This time, my answer came with an addition. None. And I'm pregnant. His shock. His joy. His immediate protectiveness. I laughed. Don't break anyone's wrist over this. Just increase security. I was ready for that. Because I wasn't the woman who sat here afraid anymore. I was the woman who chose love over fear, who accepted protection without surrendering power, who built an extraordinary life from broken pieces. The slap changed my life, but not because it happened, because of who witnessed it, who stood up, who adjusted his cuffs and decided I was worth defending. Thank you for saying yes, he said, reaching across the table. Thank you for being worth saying yes to, I replied. Safe, loved, claimed by choice, not force. The woman who survived, chose, and thrived. If this story touched your heart, tell me in the comments what moment hit you hardest. And drop your location. I want to know where you're listening from right now. This is just one woman's journey from survival to love. There are so many more stories to tell. Subscribe so you never miss a story of strength, protection, and choosing the love you deserve. Remember, you deserve someone who adjusts their cuffs before defending your honor. Never settle for less than being cherished.